New courtroom corruption has just dropped. Erica Kirk does not want you to hear this tape. So prosecutors in this Charlie Kirk murder pretrial preliminary hearing, they're being allowed to decide exactly which lies the public is allowed to hear. And what they are hiding inside of these sealed court documents is insane. So we have Erica Kirk, the grieving widow. She's participating in such a wild legal strategy, one that ensures that no real questions are allowed to get asked in the court. I'm going to show you. And then everyone else involved in this case from the Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk side, they are so terrified that the actual timeline is starting to get out, because what we're seeing is the more info we get, the more it seems to implicate the people that were supposed to be like the good guys. And this Charlie Kirk murder pretrial, it doesn't add up, and the system knows it. And here's the thing that nobody seems to want to say. If this case was really as cut and dry as the prosecutors claim it is, there wouldn't be so much evidence getting sealed. There wouldn't be so many secret courtroom documents. There wouldn't be so many moments where the stream goes silent, where they're not allowed to share what's being presented. And, you know, the victim's own widow wouldn't be calling out the judge for hiding stuff. We need to talk about this missing 15 minutes. And we are currently at this point watching the state try to convict a lone shooter, a solitary shooter, while giving his roommate a very, very questionable immunity deal. And prosecutors are frantically trying to hide police recordings because supposedly their innocent witness just left DNA on the murder weapon. And we have Erica Kirk giving tearful speeches about demanding the truth while refusing to support motions that would actually maybe bring the truth. But here's exactly what's happening right now. The lone gunman story falls apart real quick. If you're new here, I'm Lauren Paritra. Willa Paritra is starting to feel a teeny bit better. I see her sleeping by the ball right now. And we just wanted to let you guys know that we do this every single day out of pure principle and an absolute refusal to let people like Katie Miller get ahead. And Katie Miller is the wife of Stephen Little Bitch Miller, who is, you know, last we heard, on the loose. He's been molting. He's been shedding his exoskeletal layers in dark spots in people's homes. People are finding trace evidence of Stephen Miller being present, and they are trying to get the pest situation under control. So you can help stay safe by subscribing. Every comment, 6 words or more, every hype, every 5-star rating, wherever you get your podcast, every individual action in sharing this video protects you from Stephen Miller lurking around your space in the dark. So the Utah judge made a stunning decision to seal 15 minutes of crucial police interview. And why would they do that? The official reason they gave was to protect Tyler Robinson's right to a fair trial. So let's stop and think about that for a second. If Tyler really acted completely alone, if the prosecution story is actually true, what could possibly be in that 15-minute gap that is so damaging it needs to be hidden from the public? Haven't we seen a lot already so far? Like, if your case is so airtight, you don't hide evidence. You would probably be parading it around. Like, everyone see how open and shut it is. So what's in that 15 minutes? This is where it gets really interesting. The state's own witness, a sergeant who testified under oath, revealed something that the prosecution would probably prefer to keep quiet. So Lance Twiggs, the former roommate, lover, his DNA had been turned up in places it probably shouldn't have been. It was one on the screwdriver supposedly found on top of the Losi Center on the roof. It was also on the towel that had wrapped up the rifle, the same rifle recovered in the woods near UVU.
All right, so the court will overrule the objection and allow a brief overview of it, not going line by line, page by page. So if it is brief, I'll allow that.
Male DNA was obtained from item 7 sub 1. Item 7 sub 1 was interpreted as originating from two individuals, one of whom is Twiggs. The DNA results from item 7 sub 1 and are 1.7 octillion times more likely if Twiggs and T. Robinson are contributors than if Twiggs and an unknown, unrelated person are contributors.
So prosecution, they're still saying Lance Twiggs had nothing to do with it. They're calling him a cooperating witness. Meanwhile, they give him limited immunity. So let's just think about this immunity deal for a second. You don't hand out immunity, even limited immunity, to somebody who's completely innocent and completely uninvolved. It's It's a form of currency, and they're using that for leverage. So the state is insisting Tyler acted alone. He's the sole mastermind. He's the one who pulled the trigger, did all of it. Then why does the cooperating witness have DNA on the weapon? Yes, they lived together. They were lovers, allegedly, but it just feels like that there should be a more simple explanation. Here's the game that nobody's talking about. Where the legal maneuvering gets shadowy is last month, Tyler Robinson's defense team tried to do something pretty standard. They wanted to compel Lance Twiggs to testify in person, live under oath, where they could cross-examine him.
Good morning, Your Honor. Jeffrey Nyman on behalf of the Kirk family. And we appreciate the court is trying to balance here, but the Kirk family's waited 10 months for this hearing. And they have a right to be here, and they have a right to hear the evidence. They have a right to see and feel what's going on in this courtroom, just like, and they want to understand, Judge, what you are viewing. They want to see the evidence. And we understand you have to balance. But at a minimum, this courtroom needs to be open for the evidence to be displayed openly in this courtroom, for them to see it. The Utah Constitution gives them the right to be here, and to be here and not to see the evidence, what's the point of being here?
Let me explain what's happening here. This is a nightmare scenario for prosecutors who need Lance Twiggs to stay a cooperating witness. Real quick, today's episode is brought to you by Brickhouse Nutrition. Everyone's talking about weight loss injections because the results are so dramatic. They work by lowering your blood sugar and reducing your appetite. So what if you're looking to lose weight, but you're not interested in those painful weekly injections, especially when you hear about some of those intense side effects? Well, that's why doctors created a weight loss supplement called Lean, and the results are remarkable. The studied ingredients in Lean have been shown to lower your blood sugar, burn fat by converting it to energy, and curb your appetite and cravings so you're not as hungry. But listen, Lean is not for the casual dieter with only a few pounds to lose. The doctors at Brickhouse Nutrition created Lean for frustrated dieters with 10 or more pounds to lose. And let's get you started today with 20% off and free rush shipping so you can add Lean to your healthy diet and exercise plan. You can visit takelean.com and enter code Lauren, that's Loren, for your discount. That's promo code Lauren at takelean.com. So now this is the part that's super shady. So Erica Kirk stayed completely silent when this motion was filed. Her lawyers didn't join the defense. They didn't push Lance to the stand. They didn't file anything. They saying, yes, we want to hear his live testimony. Nothing. Crickets. So now flip to the week after. Suddenly Erica's attorney is in court arguing against keeping the recorded interview sealed. She now suddenly at this point wants the interview public. Look at this.
This has not been easy, as you can imagine. And I think the family deserves to see the evidence that's been gathered in this investigation. They deserve to know what happened to Charlie. So we urge the court to please, again, display the evidence here in the courtroom.
Thank you. The court further finds that any potential prejudice arising from media coverage may be addressed, if necessary, through the appropriate trial procedures, including voir dire and any other measures warranted before trial. And I insert, if one occurs.
So which is it? Does she want the truth from Lance Twiggs, or does she want the controlled recorded version where Lance Twiggs can't be cross-examined, where prosecutors can't say, hey, we're going to poke some holes in this narrative? The controlled narrative is a big part of this. And I think that's like anyone who's been watching this trial, pretrial hearing, has been picking up that part. So they had the recorded police interview with Lance. It's a one-sided tape. It's Lance talking to the cops who already know the story they need to tell him. It's him singing whatever tune he needs to sing to get his immunity deal and to get him out of the spotlight. So nobody is cross-examining him on that tape. Nobody's calling out any of the inconsistencies or asking any hard questions. So it's exactly what the prosecutors want the public to see. But the live testimony, that's dangerous. That's where defense attorneys can grill him. The timeline can get picked apart. That's when somebody might actually ask him point blank about the immunity deal, about why his DNA is on the evidence, about whether he knew anything more about what happened to Charlie Kirk before or after. We've only seen bits and pieces of it. And that's how the prosecution wanted it. The defense wanted it the other way around. And that's why Erica, who's supposedly seeking the truth, it's just not like she's not stepping up to support that. And the note that changes everything is that Lance Twiggs found a note on Robinson's desk, and the note said something like, It was supposedly a goodbye. It talked about going on a mission. It said Tyler was likely dead or facing a lengthy prison sentence. And he confirms he found this note. Lance Twiggs confirms he found this note on Tyler Robinson's desk on September 10th, admitting to take out Charlie Kirk. Per a subpoena, the note said Luna, referring to Twiggs. If you read this, if you're reading my text, I am so sorry. I left the house this morning on a mission and set an auto text. I am likely dead or facing a lengthy prison sentence. I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and I took it. I don't know if I will / have succeeded, but I had hoped to make it home to you. I wish we could have lived in a world where this did not feel necessary. I wish we could have stayed for you and lived our lives together.
There on the left, we see Exhibit 24. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
And on the right, you see, on the right is 24. On the left, it's 16.
Let me stop you, Mr. McBride. I'm not sure. Is this being broadcast?
Let's take that down.
All right.
Exhibit 24. Thank you, Your Honor.
If Tyler planned the whole thing and acted alone and carried it out in cold blood, why would he leave a note like that? Why would he confess to his roommate before doing anything? Why would he not just do it? Why warn Lance? Unless Lance wasn't just a roommate stumbling onto a note, unless Lance was someone Tyler felt like he needed to tell because they were lovers, somebody he trusted. I don't know. It's a weird thing, but this is where the family continues to break ranks. So one of the most jaw-dropping things that happened in this whole hearing was Erica actually contradicted the prosecution. Their attorney stood up and said that hiding the 15 minutes of testimony is breeding doubt and distrust. He pushed back against the judge and he called for transparency. And this almost never happens. So the victim's family and prosecutors are supposed to be kind of on the same page. They're supposed to move in lockstep. They're supposed to be working towards the same convictions. But Erica's team was saying, no, you're hiding something and that's a problem. This was supposed to be a routine preliminary trial. It's been very chaotic and messy. Erica Kirk and the team was probably expecting to come in, check the box, move on, get through the pretrial motions. But everything's been blown wide open and the state is chanting he acted alone. But look what it's actually happening. We're getting evidence getting sealed, a key witness getting immunity, key witness having his DNA on the murder weapon. We have a victim's family, Erica Kirk's, calling for transparency, but then arguing against transparency in the same breath, more or less. The defense can't cross-examine this key witness live, a note that exists like muddled in this narrative. And none of that screams like open and shut. It's not a clean case. There's so much more to the story. And the closer you look, the more it looks like somebody else was involved. And it looks like the system is working overtime to keep us from asking too many questions about who that was, who was involved. We're going to keep digging in here as we do every single day. So make sure you follow along. The best way you can support and we can keep this information coming is by you hitting subscribe. None of our videos are paywalled and we're available wherever you listen to your podcasts. And we are on social too. So find us on social, keep in touch, leave us a note. I am Lauren P across everywhere except for Twitter where I'm Lauren Peritra. And it's a long story, but the I am Lauren P is not me. Sorry guys, back with more.